Hey everybody, my name is Vasanth. I'm a NEET faculty. I work in askIITians and I kind of train the NEET aspirants who really want to achieve. And today we're going to look into the chapter that we study in 9th standard. The chapter's name is Why Do We Fall Ill? And in this we're going to see series of things and let's explore it. Okay, so just allow me a minute. I hope everybody is able to see the screen now. There you go. So the chapter's name is very easy. It's Why Do We Fall Ill? And belongs to class 9. Okay. So we are going to cover a series of topics under this now. So let's quickly get into the topics that we are going to cover, and later we'll get into the content. Okay, shall we? And topics that we are going to cover in this video would be the introduction to what is health and what is disease, and how are disease caused. So what are the sources through which we get the disease from, and different types of disease and how we are going to categorize them, and what are the pathogens of disease, and how this disease is going to be transferred from one organism to another, and then what is organ specific manifestation. Okay? We're going to see everything in detail, and so let's get into the first topic. Okay, so first of all, what is health and disease? So health is a condition of a person where he doesn't have anything to worry about. He's like perfectly all right. So according to WHO, health is defined as physical, okay, social, psychological, and spiritual well-being. Okay, so this is what health is overall together means. Health doesn't mean that a person is he's not hospitalized or something like that. No, it doesn't mean that he is healthy. Healthy is where he should be physically well, mentally well, and socially well, and should be having good thoughts. He should be in a normal human state. So if he misses that state at any cost, okay, so we consider him unhealthy. Okay, so that's what the term health means. So disease-free and healthy, are they same? So totally not. So how do you say that? Because when you have a state of proper physical health, mental health, and social well-being, a person is considered healthy. Okay, so that is what healthy means. So what about disease-free? So disease-free is any kind of disease, discomfort. Okay, that is not present in our body. So first of all, we need to understand what does the term disease means. DISEASE. Disease. So this means no. Okay, ease means comfort. So when a person loses the comfort of of anything, it can be physical, it can be mental, it can be social. So then the person is considered to be having a disease. Okay, so disease is mere just absence. Being healthy is not absence of disease. It is just disease free. Health is universally all physical, mental, and social well-being of an organism. When he is perfectly all right to be part of this this environment as a beautiful citizen, then we call them healthy. Okay, so healthy refers to an individual physical and social environment as well. Okay, so the environment that he lives in, how he's going to treat, how he's going to interact, how it is going to contribute to the society, everything. If it is going to be good, then it is considered healthy. But when it comes to disease free, it is just the individual only. How it is only the self, the person. So when he is not having any illness or ailment in his body, then we consider him disease free. Being healthy is having a good interaction with the people in the society and environment and stuff like that. So being healthy is he's altogether he has a good health. So that's what being healthy means. And an individual, okay, when it comes to disease-free condition, he might be healthy or might not be healthy. So it can be possible because it is disease-free is respect to only one particular aspect. It's the individual only, with respect to the physical health. Okay, so it could be he could be completely healthy or he could be poorly healthy. Okay, so that is what disease-free and healthy actually differentiates. So what are the other factors that can determine the process of being a healthy person is because the income. So when a person is actually having a good income, it is obvious that the person would be like living, having a good standard of living. Okay, so it's obvious that. So when he's going to have a good standard of living, the probability of him getting infected with any kind of disease condition and having a good health is like always high. Okay? And getting the disease condition is very, very low. And when he's going to have a good income, it is probably that he will be able to provide education to everybody who's around him, and he will be getting educated as well. And when it comes to the education part, when he's going to be well educated, it's obvious that he will be getting a proper employment in the right place by using the skills that he has developed in the process of getting educated and in the prospect of life. Okay, so and when he's going to have the income, so all three of this, including the house, like where he's going to live in, and the locality that he selects to live in, all of them are going to have a better one. So when those things are going to be better, it is obvious that the person's health will be proper, because the health doesn't mean mean that is individual only, because healthy is the environment around him, like how he is having a social interaction with other people around him, with the neighbors, probably like what kind of relationship that he has, whether he fights with them or literally just enjoy their presence, like share things with them, and then lots of other things. So that makes a human being healthy. So that is one of the important aspects. So like how we differentiate person between being healthy and disease free. I hope every one of you understood what is the difference between being healthy and disease. So what are the causes of disease? So disease can be caused by many other things. So when I say disease is discomfort or no comfort, so it can be pain, it can be distress or death to a person, okay, or anything. So disease is a condition which is going to put us in trouble, put us in misery, put us in a pain, ailment, all those things. So if it is going to get serious, it is obvious that the person would also die. So when it comes to the causative of diseases, we should know what are the things that is going to cause diseases, and later be aware of it, and then you have to protect yourself against. So when it comes to special things, usually the external factors and internal factors. So there are basically two. One would be external and internal. So external is like any substance or any things that is going to have an influence over the organism's immunity. Then we call them as external factors. In that, the main factor would be pathogens. So pathogens are any organisms or any particulate matter that is going to cause an immunity response and causing discomfort is called pathogens. The pathogens have been categorized into bacteria, virus, protozoan, fungi, and worms. So we have a lot of examples coming up in the upcoming videos and the slides. So we will actually know more about it. Or if it is not going to have an external thing, so it could be an internal process also. So a disease, any discomfort, I said it is just discomfort. So when the immune system is not properly tuned up, and if it is not working properly, it is obvious that any disease condition, any microorganisms or any foreign object can actually get into the body and cause discomfort. Or a chemical substance which you studied in class 8, okay, under the chapter reaching the age of adolescence, is called hormone. So hormone actually helps in homeostasis, homeostasis, homeostasis. So homeostasis is uniform equilibrium, maintaining the body at equilibrium state, a balanced state. So when there is going to be a hormonal imbalance, when the hormones that is required for the body to work out, if it is not going to be available, it is obvious that the body will not be able to function properly. So in that case, it is for sure that the body will lose homeostasis, which is the body will lose balance, and it will cause a discomfort. So that is also the internal cause of disease. Okay, I hope you have understood the causes of disease. So what are the sources? So we are going to describe the sources of disease based on whatever we saw as pathogens. The first thing we are going to see about is bacteria. So bacteria is one of the most important, microorganism. Bacteria is one of the most important microorganisms which causes illness. So all microorganisms causes illness? No. Some of them are friendly and some of them are harmful. So that is something which we also studied in lower classes. In class 8, you already have had a chapter called microorganisms, friend and foe. In that chapter, you have been taught, and you have learned that not all bacteria are harmful and not all bacteria are helpful also. There are some good bacteria and there are some bad bacteria. So any bacteria which is going to cause harmness to the body, and it is obviously going to cause illness in the body. So that could be a source of disease, a discomfort. Okay, and is it only bacteria that causes this kind of a problem? Definitely not. There are other microorganisms which you studied in the previous slide. So viruses are much smaller than bacteria, but in the case of viruses, they are going to have a much worse impact. Why? Because in the earlier classes, like in 8th standard, you studied about a chapter called cell, the structure and function, right? So in that chapter, you have been informed, and even in the chapter microorganisms, friend and foe, you have been informed, we have been taught that virus is both living and non-living. So when you say that they are both living and non-living, it is obvious to understand that they do they play dead? So definitely not. They don't play dead. So when a bacteria actually infects you, the bacteria is a living organism, even outside the infecting organism. Okay, the organism is going to get infected by the bacteria. So even outside, when the bacteria stays outside the infecting organism, the organism which is going to get infected. So then also we consider that the bacteria is living. But in the case of viruses, when the virus is going to enter into a living tissue or living organism, only then it will perform the function of living. So there are different categories of things that is going to consider that is required to be present in an organism to be considered as living. In that, most of the characteristics are not found to be present in viruses. So that is why virus is considered a non-living organism. And when it enters into the host, or when a person who's going to get infected, we call that organism a host. So that is also called as, so because of that, virus is also called as living. So that is why they are both non-living and living. Okay, so that is the so these are the sources of disease. So there are different types of disease. There are different types of disease. And that first one will be infectious disease. Infection. Okay, anything. Okay, any disease which is going to be transferred from one person to another person, which can be conveyed or communicated to another person. When a person has a cough or a cold, when you sit next to him, and then when he sneezes, like achoo, and then it's obvious after a few days, if your immune system is going to be weak, you will also have the cold. So why did that happen? Because he was having a disease which was caused by a virus, and due to him sneezing when you were sitting right next to him without any proper mask or to avoid yourself from getting infected, so it was being communicated, it was being the infectious disease had been transferred to you through the process of sneezing. So that's what makes the disease very, very infectious in nature. So infectious disease is where it can be communicated to another person. Okay, because these disease conditions are actually caused by microorganisms, and these microorganisms can be transferred from one organism to another organism through different means. Okay, so because of which these organisms are causing infectious diseases. So there are many different types, which is again fungi, okay, rickettsia, bacteria, and then viruses, protozoan, and even worm. So it is not just through sneezing. Some of the organisms, microorganisms can get infected through, sexually transmitted disease, which you again studied in the chapter Reaching the Age of Adolescence in the previous videos in 8th standard. And after that, in the case of worms, it is usually an unhygienic condition of living. So a person who's infected with the worm disease when his defecation is not done in a proper way, when he is going to defecate open, or when we eat an unprocessed meat, it is obvious that they will have the cysts or the eggs of the worms. So when it is not properly cooked and when they are consumed, it is obvious that the cyst will break inside and start to live inside, and then and consume the digestive nutrients that you have been provided with, and then starts to live in yourself, live in you, and then reproduce more. So this is the infectious disease. So any disease condition which is going to get infected from one person to another person is called an infectious disease, which is actually communicated, a communicable disease. Okay, so this is a infectious disease. So next one would be non-infectious disease. Any disease which is not given or transferred from one organism to another organism, because there is no factor which is going to be involved in the process of transferring. For an example, usually the pathogens are the one which actually gives the microorganisms are the one which actually causing the disease, right? So what if it is actually an internal factor? Do you remember we studied about the external and internal factor? The previous one was actually external factor. Now this is an internal factor, which means any main function, anything that is actually supposed to maintain the homeostasis process, when that is messed up, so it is obvious that the person will become have discomfort, so he will become diseased. So in this case, there are several types, which could be example when it comes to hypertension or high blood pressure, and then diabetes, and then cancer. So all these three are very good examples of non-infectious disease. So these non-infectious disease will not get transferred from one person to another person. It will not get transferred. So this actually gets transferred possibilities through genetics. So sir, you are saying that it can get transferred, right? No, it is not getting transferred in the real time from one person to another person through some external factors. It is just through the genetic material which was faulty in organism 1, and he just transferred it through his offsprings only. So through which part? It's the genes which was found to be faulty in maintaining these things. So it is not going to happen in every case. It can be a cause too. So that is what I am here to tell you. Okay, non-infectious disease. So let's get to the next one. So there are different pathogens which are going to be causing the disease. So we know pathogens. So pathogens are any organisms which is going to cause an infectious disease, which includes bacterium, fungi, and then protozoan, worms, viruses, and even some proteins which could actually cause negative impact on the health of an individual. Those are called prions, prions, prions. Okay, so there are different classes, how do they enter into the system. So let's say, for an example, bacteria usually enter through food and water. Okay, and fungi usually on the surface or through our habits and stuff. And protozoan is also when we are not hygienic in nature. And worms again same way, when you are not having processed food properly and stuff. So virus is any possible way, even by air. Okay, it is possible. So these we need to be very careful, because our immune system is is having a very good construct, but it doesn't have a wider probability to actually provide services. So it has a very narrow one. So with that, it can build, but it takes time. So some diseases, when we get it, when we're not ready to defend it, it is obviously going to kill us. So with that, we cannot take chances. So that why we need to be very, very careful when it comes to challenging or fighting against diseases. Okay. So next thing is, there are several modes of transportation or transmission of diseases. So some of them are air, okay, water, and then vector, and then there's another one also. Vector connects actually almost everything. Okay, air, water, and then like vector. So these are the most important ways through which the things get transferred from one another. Okay, and one more thing, sexual intercourse. Sexual intercourse. So sexual intercourse also could cause transmission of diseases. So there are several diseases which can be transmitted from one organism to another organism when they are in intimate relationship with each other. So these are the modes of transmission of diseases. Okay. So when we talk about organ-specific manifesto, there are lots of things that you need to look into, because when it comes to malaria. Okay, malaria, malaria is actually caused by plasmodium. Plasmodium, and this plasmodium, when it is entering into the blood cell, it reaches the liver. Okay, and then they get multiplied. Okay, and then they enter into the RBC, and then they again multiply, and then enters into the mosquito, and then again entering into the human being. So once the mosquito undergoes a process of reproduction, and then entering into the human body again. So in this process, if you see, they are completely tissue specific. So they will not get multiplied anywhere else. So they will directly go into the liver and then RBC. Okay. So this is what the organ specific manifesto is. So there are certain organs and tissues and cells where the microorganisms get cozy and comfy. Okay. And then later establishes its grounds. When it comes to tuberculosis, it gets comfortable because the mode of transmission of tuberculosis bacteria is through air. So the main passage through which it can enter is air passage, and it will enter into the lungs and it infects lungs. So in this case, this is the organ and tissue specific manifestation that is actually found in most of the diseases. So most of the diseases have its own specificity where it gets infected. Okay, this is what is called as organ specific manifestation. Okay, so every organism, microorganism has causes infection, and at a specific target site in the body. So this is organ specific manifestation. Okay, I hope every one of you understood this process. So that is how the symptoms are actually caused by. Let's say, for an example, a person who is having diarrhea. Okay, diarrhea. So what will actually happen to him? Because diarrhea is where the absorption of the minerals and nutrients from the digested materials will not happen. Okay, so as a result of which there will be dehydration. Okay, and then no loss of energy. Okay, so this will cause headache, fever. Okay, no energy, they'll be so weak, so they cannot actually perform any kind of a function. So this is what I meant, when it comes to organ specific. So any microorganism which is going to affect a particular part, it is sure that the disease that is going to be causing a particular symptoms, okay, in that organism. So that's what is organ specific manifesto. Okay. So next, we have few questions which we can talk about. One is, there are two conditions essential for being free of disease. So what are those? Do you need time to think, or shall I tell the answer? Okay. Yeah. So there are two important things. One is personal and domestic hygiene. That's the first one, and first and most important one. Okay. Personal and domestic hygiene. So when the person is good, with hygiene and every other part, and after he should keep the environment that he lives in clean, so that there will be no causative agents available somewhere nearby, even after you keep yourself clean. So first you put a protective layer against you by keeping yourself clean, and you put another protective layer by keeping the environment clean. Okay, so that makes you live in a society which is actually healthy. So that constitutes together to have a healthy life. Okay, so that's why there's two conditions that is essential to have free of disease. Okay, so next question will be, what are different means by which infectious disease are spread? So there are several means through which infectious diseases are spread, which are air, food, water, and even by contact, like physical contact and stuff, and also by sexual contact, I told you about sexual intercourse, right? So these are the most important ways through which the microorganisms tend to get spread from one organism to another organism, through which the infection is spread, and then the disease is also formed. So these are the ways through which the microorganisms can spread disease condition. Okay, I hope every one of you would have understood this concept. Okay, so I'm very happy to teach you all these things, and I hope you all enjoyed the class. And this is a recorded session, and we all know that. So usually our lively sessions are more interactive. So please don't stop with this. Join us, students, and then try to have a more interactive class with us, and then get your life perfect. And when it comes to doubts, whatever doubts you have, you don't have to worry. We have a complete forum where you can post your questions, and we have dedicated faculties who will be working on these forums and then get these questions answered. So feel free to write your questions, and then we will try to give you answer ASAP. And then very happy to have you guys in the class. Happy learning, guys. Thank you so much.